there, viewers, and welcome back to the channel. So we're taking a quick drive home to see the folks over Christmas break, and shortly before I left, Dad says, oh hey, I got a couple things I need you to look at on a car. So customer complaint on this is going to be an '02 Accord, and the complaint on it is the driver's side. I think it's the driver's side. The power mirror goes horizontal both directions, but not vertical. So asked me to take a look at that. I said sure, should be a fairly simple repair. So I thought I'd get the intro to this knocked out. A couple things that I did, since I'll be working mobile, is to ensure that we have the correct tools. Since it is an electrical problem, some of my fave. First thing that we need, meter. Second thing, test light and something to load the circuit down. So I brought a couple 194 bulbs, and as I crash, this guy, pull a couple amps from the circuit, kind of like a mirror motor should. So anyway, trying not to die here. Lastly, before I left, service information. So I do have my laptop, but I have complete in-service information. I have the terminals for the for the mirror motor. Probably going to be dealing with the 3-pin variant on this particular car, since it does not have power mirrors. Next tidbit is going to be the motor removal procedure, should the customer elect to have me fix that. And no, you don't have to break the glass on this car, which is kind of nice. Unlike the car that I'm driving in right now, you do have to break the mirror glass to replace the motors. So kind of a dumb design. This one looks like it gomps onto the center hub to make that work. And lastly, the last thing that we have here is service info for removing the door panels. So basically, based on the customer's input, you know, it's either going to be a switch, it's going to be a wiring issue, or there's going to be a dead motor in here. So either way, even if it's something simple like a fuse, again, if it's a fuse, why did the fuse blow is the question that we got to be answering. So next time I see you, let's take a look at the car. All right, folks, they say on neutral drop. So we're in the car. First off, test out the right-hand mirror. Good worky. And no worky in the vertical driver's side. So we'll just play with the switch a little bit. See if that's the issue. And it is not. Okay, so horizontal works just exactly as it was described to me. And both sides work beautifully on the right. So what I'm going to do next is we're going to take a look here at our service info. I have a wire diagram in here. I have no light. I don't know where my video light went, but kind of gives you an idea. So we're going to go ahead and I think probably I'm going to just go right to the mirror. Switch feels fine. She's not a smoker, so the window's not typically left open or anything, but let's see what it takes to get some access to the wires here at the mirror. Moving the camera. What we're going to do, just less cutting, less getting into stuff, is I've already popped out the little beauty doodonger cover thing in here. Sorry about the light here, folks. Again, I don't have a light here, so we're kind of roughing it. Hopefully you'll understand. But just one Phillips head screw, and looks like it's just a 3-wire connect-a-madong coming out of the door. So we should be able to access that here at the back of the switch, which we can. So I'm going to look at a wire diagram. You can see we got, we'll just unplug that, give it the old visual. Everything looks really good in the connector. So we're going to figure out which one of these wires go to this door and not that door. And so let me read the wire diagram, and we'll be right back, because I got big open on the back of my connector here for testing. So probably will be easier than doing it at the mirror. All right. Brought tools that I need. Got some jumper wires. Of course, the test light, my fave. Just throw that on the floor. Okay, so when I look at our diagram here, I don't know if you can quite see that. Probably not. But the left is the green, blue, and the yellow. So I'm assuming that if we can find a good ground. Again, folks, sorry about the light here. It's pretty bad. Be nice to test this test light. I wonder if the mirrors work with the key off. Ooh, no they don't. They do now, so what I'm going to do is just put this over to left and hold the up, wiggle, nothing. Okay, so this will probably be a little bit easier than the test light, just because we're switching power and ground back and forth. So what I'm going to do is several amp test light, and I look at my diagram here, and we are switching the green, blue, and the yellow. I think I've said that a few times. So I'm just going to put the ground in the yellow hole, since it looks like a common power feed. And in my blue, and just kind of back probe these. And, oh, okay, so I don't want to do that too much. That's a lot of amperage, but I'm going to switch to the right side. I can hear it working, nothing. Hey, it's working. Oh, nope, it stopped. It was working. So this guy's working. Left to right's working. Then we'll put those back in here. Same spot. Maybe I was hitting. Okay. We have up and down. Why? Fixed. Okay, so what we've played with here. So the horizontal's working. And now the vertical's working great. I'm gonna maybe put my emphasis here on it being a switch, that maybe the contacts were just kind of crusty in it, and it seems to have come alive. Maybe it was this top part. It's not making for very good video footage now, is it? Man, I thought we were gonna get to tear some stuff apart. That mirror's working. So maybe there's some corrosion in this switch here, unfortunately. I don't know, it's working pretty good. I hate it when it makes a liar out of me. But that's why you always make sure that you're paying attention to what you're playing around with here. So also why I didn't tear the door panel apart. So I was hoping there'd be a connector behind here. Honda says give her the old snipperoo to replace this motor, but I think it'd probably be easier to just unpin the connector. But I don't know, I'm gonna play with this for a little bit, and thinking if anything, this car needs a power window motor switch, which it's right here. It's a lot easier than doing the glass. Kind of thought this was going to be interesting. All right, so you remove the switch from the car. I'm just going to kind of try to gently pry this open. I've played around with this for quite a while, and I cannot get it to re-brake. So the only time it started working is when we ran a decent amount of current through it with a test light that probably made a little arc in the switch and heated the contacts up good enough in it to get it to function again. So I'm thinking I might just take this thing apart and oops, hit it with some deoxit. 3 snaps together on the other side here.
I don't have 4 little screwdrivers. We packed light, but we'll get her figured out. There's all the jiggly bits inside of it go flying. I mean, what do we got to lose if we take this apart? Because we already know what the problem is. We don't want to give it back and a week later have it break again. So just be careful when we're pulling this apart. I might enhance. Okay, all right. Ooh, what do we got? It's a mystery. Okay, taking these things apart. You never know what's gonna fly out, I'm just telling you. Last time I did this was on a Pontiac. The flasher, the clicker, the relay would always be clicking, whether you were using your turn signal or not. So that was just annoying. And I ended up taking the switch apart and cleaning it out inside. And everything was good with that car. We just don't want to break anything here. Yeah, I got that apart and you can kind of see the board. Focus. Kind of see what we're looking at here. See a little bit of black goop. So I'm gonna wipe that stuff off. It's just silicone grease. And then on the back side of the switch, fortunately nothing flew out yet. But you can kind of see how that left to right slider works. And these are pretty self-explanatory how they move, and kind of a gimbal left to right sort of action. So probably just clean all that stuff up good. I think he's got some silicone grease here. I didn't bring some, but we can always run down to the electronic supply store and grab some. And it's probably going to be a no parts required fix. Don't have electronic cleaner, but I do have this and Q-tips. So all I'm going to do, clean that old crappy grease. And you can kind of see the green. Focus. Got some green crappy doos on there. We're just going to clean that. And silicone grease, which, just something to keep it lubricated up. You can kind of see what we're cleaning, these little spring doodonger things. Next, everything's cleaned up nice. I'm just going to take some steel wool, rub it over those contacts, because they got some black corrosion, green crusties crap kind of growing on them, which kind of interesting, but this piece keeps coming out, so looks like we'll be okay. Anyway, I'll show you kind of what we're looking at so you can focus. See the green, and then just a light wipe with this real fine steel wool. And you can kind of see that, focus. You can kind of see it gets back to clean copper. Okay, so everything's all nice. We're just gonna get a little bit of silicone, not too much. Put it on a Q-tip here. Gently wipe that onto said terminals. Kind of insulate everything from, it will kind of grind through, but it helps kind of keep that oxidation down. I don't have any deoxit or anything here with me, but this actually isn't too bad. So flip that around. Hopefully you can still see what we're doing. Stupid piece keeps falling out. A little wipey. Flip it around and just do a little bit more. Okay, feels good. That works. Oh man, got no room in here. All right, so everything's back together. We're gonna plug this guy in. I suppose we better turn the key on. Uh-oh. Where's keys? Oh, here they are. And ooh, everything's working that way. Okay, well, I think everything's working. Let's try that side. Upsy daisy. This side. It's about as high as that mirror. Don't go up real high, but that's a mechanical limitation, it looks like, of the mirror. So it goes way down. This must be made for short people. Right about then we get demonetized. Well, folks, there you got it. Let's check our windows. Everything we touched, child-proof, everything's good. That mirror and that mirror, everything we touched is working. So, hey, sorry it wasn't a real interesting fix. Kind of working in the back cave a little bit here, so it's just as well. But that just goes to show that, you know, obviously not every electronic thing is a parts replacement. So this is kind of cool. I didn't have to replace any parts considering it's Christmas Day. Don't have to order, don't have to worry, anything like that. It's all good. So let's run through the diagnostic process. Went through the circuit, looked for, not went through the circuit, but went through service information. Figured I'd need to pull a door panel apart. Figured I'd need to get at a motor and all of that other good stuff. Got my wire diagrams, figured out, hey, 3 wires, all that good stuff before I even got here to the car. I think you saw that in the intro. Step 2, what's the easiest way to check for power? And so I started up here because I didn't even have to take any screws out for that one. And that was kind of ended up I would have to cut into a wire harness. So I thought, well, let's check it at the switch. Maybe the switch is bad. I mean, whatever's easiest. The door, window switch, motor switch, mirror switch, whatever. It's actually usually a power window that does this sort of thing. But whatever. Check for power at the switch and kind of went, hey, wait a minute. Things started working as soon as I put a fairly high amp test light on it. So had I done it with a meter, you probably would have just seen the no power, or you would have had power. If the motor was unplugged, you would have seen probably good power and the switch working correctly, and then you would have said, hey, it needs a motor, which is why if you've watched my previous videos, I always tell you, make sure that you're loading the circuit, and a meter doesn't load the circuit. So in my opinion, what happened is the test light drew more current than the motor typically draws. It probably heated up the switch, and then it got a good spot, better continuity. The problem fixed itself, and then you probably could have just put the car back together at that point. We took the switch apart, we cleaned the green stuff out, you saw the green stuff, we re-greased everything, put it all back together. Before we did that, obviously, we used a little bit of steel wool on those copper contacts, and then we re-greased everything good, and put everything back together. Everything works. So pretty simple fix, kind of boring, but sometimes boring is good. So, hey, if you like what we did here, leave us a thumbs up, give us a comment. Let me know if you've ever had to fix any of these gremlin type electrical issues. So, car's 18 years old, I think, if I did my math right, and not too bad. So, as always, thanks for watching. Until next time.